What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus live video. Today we're going over Labyrinth. This is the trap deck of the format, as I mentioned before. A lot of people have been playing this. This deck's going to keep getting better and better with Transition Rollback coming out in the Maze of Millennia set, which is absolutely crazy. But before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah. So we are starting off with the One Lovely. This is the card you don't want to be seeing in your hand at all. It's your hard brick of the deck. I don't really know what to say. It just pop your stuff. Like, it's an necessary evil to the deck, and it's an absolutely insane card. But you do have to be being careful. You can discard it off your your furnitures as well, and then you can bring it back with Big Welcome. But it doesn't kind of sucks to draw. And then we are playing the two ladies. You don't need three of these. Two is just fine. It special summons help out in defense. Remember that. And then also, be able to set your traps when you activate a trap. If your opponent has any kind of counter or any kind of interruption for your trap, even if it's like a useless thing like a runic card to summon out something else, you have to chain directly to the trap, which is important to note. But otherwise, it's very good, bounce back to the hand, and you have like unlimited access to it. You just don't want to be seeing multiple of these cards in your hand, so that's why you don't play three of it. But seeing one of it once in a while or being able to search it is just very nice. Then we are playing the 3 Arianas. This is your best normal summon of the deck. Gets you into all your stuff. So just for a Labyrinth as well, if it stays on the field and the card is bounce back with your normal traps, you can then draw a card, which is absolutely free. Just say draw a card and then summon out a fiend or set a trap if you want to, which is very nice. And then for the last of the ladies, we are playing the 1 Arias. I know, I should probably mention this is not a pure furniture build. We aren't running the multiple copies of the Arias for the reason of I don't believe this card is very good at past turn 0. It will get significantly better with Transition Rollback, and then if you play like multiple heavier traps. But unfortunately, I just don't think it's that crazy, as well as I'm a huge believer of playing like multiple Ku Klux. I know there are some builds that are playing these like heavy furnitures, heavy Ku Klux, and the heavy butlers, but at that point I just feel like that's like a crazy, you don't want one of your die rolls and then you're like having multiple bricks in hand. Like, what does Arias and no other traps, or Ku Klux and no other traps really do? So I guess I'll be kind of explaining that as we go on. Now for the furnitures, 3 Sorvy Torvies, 3 of apparently everyone's least favorite Chandelier, and then the double Ku Klux. I'm not playing 3 Ku Klux for the same reason I'm not playing Butler. It needs another card in hand to activate. I don't want to see multiple Ku Klux. I want to be seeing Ku Klux plus any one of these, or Ku Klux plus, like, let's say, Ariana. Or even, like, I guess, it's just really kind of hard to think about. Like, when I was testing 3 Ku Klux, I was seeing it more often than I wanted to, and then it was, like, being useless. I had, like, 2 of them in hand. I could, like, discard one off the Storby Torvy if I had it after I activated the first one. But it's like, I want to see cards that actually do stuff. So unfortunately, I'm not playing it. I'm playing another trap card that you guys may not be liking, but that's just kind of me. Then for the hand traps, we are playing the 3 Ash Blossom, the 3 Nib, and then the 3 Imperms. As I've said in almost every one of my deck profiles, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, absolutely standard. You can either play Nib or you can play the copy of Trolls. I'm choosing to play Nib in this deck because of the cool interaction it has with any of the furnitures. So let's say you have Nib and then you have a furniture. You can actually activate Nib if they summon 5 times, and then you can chain a furniture, discarding the Nib and the furniture, and then the Nib doesn't actually summon. The board still gets wiped and there's no token there. So that's just a cool interaction you guys should know. And unfortunately with Droll, it doesn't have that kind of interaction there, so that's why we're not playing it in the main deck. Then for the spells, we're playing 4 spells. We're playing the Extravagance and we're playing the Call with the Grave. We are not playing Lab because this card is kind of dookie. I don't think that the card's that great. If we were playing like a more trap heavy format, or if like there's a mandatory rescue ace format, but with Fire King as well as Unchained being in the format, I just can't see this being viable and popping the stuff that I just don't want to be popping. Then for the traps, we are playing the 3 Big Welcome, absolutely standard, and we have actually bumped up the Welcome Labyrinth to 3. I know this is a big occurrence when we are playing a deck like that has the heavy furniture cards or paired with Arias, but this card and Arias is a very nice combo that we can have. But I found myself not always wanting to see it, but I'm trying to bump it up to 3. It is also a good card to draw, but it does come back a lot of the times. But if you can set it and then have a big welcome set as well, it's just very nice to be playing with. And the card that nobody wants to be seeing, We are unfortunately playing the 3 skill drain. I think this card's absolutely crazy. You could cut 2 of these down for your 2 other Arias as well as the 3rd Kuklok, but I'm willing to play this card because I think it's absolutely insane when you see it. I see that people like put it in your side deck, but going first, if you set this card, decks are not beating you. I don't know any decks that can like actually end up OTKing you through skill drain, especially if you like have other traps. And then going second, if you end up like picking through their board with their traps, you set like 5 and one's of a skill drain, it's going to be very hard for them to actually break your board, especially because you like summon back out, and people are like, oh, well, Scourgeling kind of hurts you as well. Big Welcome can actually bounce back the skill drain, which is very important to note as well. So like if you have like this and you don't want to be affected anymore, just bounce it back, and then you know, when you need it, you can flip it up again, which is pretty cool. I don't see a lot of decks being able to do that. And for the last 3 cards, our 3 normal traps. We're playing the D-Barrier, the Dimension Ground, and then the Daruma Karma Cannon. This is really the 3 traps of your choice to round it off to 40. I've seen a lot of people play like the Tears of the Underroot. I'm not a huge fan of that card because a lot of the times with like the cards that people have now, like especially versus like Unchained, if they don't hand trap you, there's nothing you really want to be setting to their field. Like setting a trap or setting a monster is not really great. I guess like, you know, against Mid-Adium, there's lots of stuff they can do as well. But I find that I just want to be able to like flip everything face down. D-Shifter is crazy this format. And then Dimension Barrier is just like I get to control what I'm hitting. So like this is like the worst one of the 2, which is kind of crazy. But like against so many other decks, like even against Fire King, if you end up like hitting Fire or not Fire, XYZ, or if you're playing against Unchained, you can stop like the DDD. There's really just a bunch of stuff. If you're playing against Branded or Bestials, you can just hit like Synchro. You can hit just like pretty much anything right now can like be hit with D-Barrier. It's not like the blowout card that it used to be, but it's still very nice. Then for the extra deck, we still have some Rescue Ace players that are still coping on the Ibloo lock, so we have to unfortunately play this. But if you don't have any of that, you can absolutely cut it. And then we are playing the One Relinquished Anima. Kuklok is level 1, so if it summons himself out and then you want to be able to, like, if they played into an Anima zone, being able to summon out Anima and suck one of their monsters is absolutely free. We are playing the 2 Darks. You're playing Extravagance, so you have to play 2 ofs. You could play 3 of some cards as well, but Darks is very nice, you know, being able to take some of your stuff. This feels very free. And then we are on the double Muckraker. You don't need 3 of these cards. You don't go into this as often as I thought you would. You could also play the Unchained stuff like Yama, as well as a copy of Shavara, as well as a trap, but we're not playing that in this build. So 2 Muckraker it is. You can discard like an extra furniture you have to summon back a Lady or a Lovely, which can be very nice, or even an Ariana that just come up as well. And then we are playing the 2 SP Little Knights. I unfortunately only own 1 of these, so I can only show you guys 1, but you definitely should be playing 2 of these if you can have the budget. If not, you can replace it for a copy of like a Cerberus or a Phoenix. There's no really wrong options, or you can even go for a 3rd Dark if you really want to see it, or a 2nd Anima. And then we are playing the 2 copies of Underworld Goddess for our last 2 links. Purely is still around, as well as like you can summon out a bunch of bodies with your furnitures coming back out. So it's important to note that like, you can just go for it, so why not have it in your extra deck? Your extra deck is kind of loose, so it's kind of fine. Then for the last cards, I guess, we have the Typhon. We play 2 of these. I once again only own 1 of them, so I don't really play this deck that often, and when I do, I get to borrow like one of my cards, some of my cards from my friends. Shout out to Sean, Alex, and Brian, David, for letting me borrow your guys' cards, as well as Dan, you know, for letting me borrow his Chaos Angels for so long. And like for the last card, we are playing the 3 Chaos Angels. You could absolutely cut this down to 2, you know, once again, but we had 3 of these, so I ended up borrowing 2 from my friends, which is nice, but they couldn't get me a Typhon or a copy of SP because unfortunately I have to use them. You know, the best decks of the format are all playing SP and Typhon, so you definitely should be picking them up. I would kind of stay away from picking up multiple Typhons though, because I feel like it's going to getting an ulti reprint like Zeus did, but we could see. It's also a little bit cheaper, so you know it's just nice to be able to smash down. But I don't think that many decks play 2 of it. Just like one of these, when you know you don't actually need to, but a lot of the times, like if you have a trap and then you summon out a Storvatorvi because you activated the trap and then you bounce back your Lady, you can actually just go next turn and just immediately smash this down, and all of a sudden your Storvatorvi is an absolute threat of a unit. in the sky. Crisis there. That's it for the deck here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe when we see some more content like this. And stay safe. Peace.